for coming to. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to our session, which is Best Award Winners Best Practice Panel, which is one of the FATE sessions. And thank you for being hopefully in all of them. To start, I would like to thank you, the sponsors who made happen these awards and who helps to take care of all the expenses of the Educators Award, which is Jaeger Education, Technical Education, MasterCard, to Corporation, and Southern Educational Systems.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I would like to introduce our team, FLATE team. It starts with Teresa Potter, who is virtually making this happen. So everyone remotely that are joining at this moment can see us. And the recording is going to be also available later on for any of you who would like to see it. We have Dr. Marjorie Barger, who is now our Senior Educational Advisor. Ernie Friend, which is our current Executive Director, and myself, Danielle Orozco, which are CTE Project Manager. And I would like now to give the control to Ernie Friend.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you are probably familiar with Dr. Barger, who kind of led up FLATE for about 20 years. We're really excited she's still here. She's handing me the reins, and I'm excited about it. Started January 3rd. So really excited about the opportunity, and hopefully together we can make a big difference. So what is FLATE? What is FLATE's vision? FLATE's vision is to drive Florida's world-class manufacturing workforce education. And we do that in several ways. Just we sort of got it down just a few bullets here, but certainly curriculum reform and development is a big part of that. Helping schools create curriculum, working with industry. We do a lot of outreach and student recruitment activities. Professional development is something we've always focused on, but we're going to focus on a lot more over the next year. We've got about 11 professional developments planned to help educators understand how to develop partnerships, how to create local articulations. We're going to do some cybersecurity, professional development training, a host of different professional development to help educators connect better with students and with industry. And technician education research. So I've got a couple of projects. Maryland's heading up one now called LEMS, where we're taking a device that allows kind of legacy equipment to be sort of current cloud-based technologies. Get smarter. Get smarter. Yeah, make a legacy equipment smarter. Yeah. So certainly one of our goals is to impact locally but lead nationally. And certainly, over the years, FLATE, Maryland, and the whole FLATE team has certainly been recognized nationally as a go-to place for manufacturing education. So, but while we're here today, and I want to thank one more time, thanks again for our sponsors, that we really appreciate all of you sponsorships. One person who's not here, Tanya Spencer from SES, Southern Educational Systems. Unfortunately, her car got totaled yesterday when she was leaving this event to go into the store. Someone T-boned her. Fortunately, she's okay, but her car's totaled, so she's dealing with that. But we appreciate all three of our sponsors for this event. So what this is all about today is we want to recognize industry professionals and secondary and post-secondary educators for their outstanding contributions to promote and support technology education and career awareness in manufacturing. We've got three fine examples here that I'll hand over to you. Great. So I think I'm about the edge here.
You're on the edge. Flushing me back.
I'm on you.
How's this?
Just a hair. Perfect. Okay.
Good. All right. Good afternoon. Great to see everybody. My name is Mark Audio. I'm the regional manager with DC Jaeger Corporation. We are proud to announce our winners for the FLATE Manufacturing Educator and Business Sponsor Awards. Notice that they're all sitting in articulated alignment. High school, college, industry. It's almost like you planned it that way, Marilyn. Our first award winner for the FLATE Manufacturing Secondary Award, Ed Fry II, CTE instructor for Applied Engineering and Technology, Nature Coast, Technical High School, Brooksville. Our FLATE Post-Secondary Manufacturing Educator of the Year Award, Dr. Cecilia Larsson, Program Manager and Professor, Seminole State College, Oviedo. And our FLATE Distinguished Manufacturing Partner Service Award winner, Mr. Michael Shaluly, President, Master Tool Corporation, Safety Harbor, Florida, a great little town if you've never been there. Marilyn?
Okay. Go around this way. Good idea. So again, welcome everyone. Thanks again for coming and sharing our recognition of our awardees and listening to all their top secrets of how they interact and do their jobs every day with their students and industry partners. So right now we're going to start with just these first questions to learn a little bit about them. So we're going to start with Mike Shaluly. Tell us about yourself, your organization, and your educational programs.
Okay, so it's very wonderful to be here, and we're very thankful to FLATE for organizing this and the awards. It's fantastic the work that you're doing, and it was wonderful meeting educators this morning. It was a great experience, so thank you for that. Mastercut Tool Corporation is a manufacturer of solid carbide cutting tools. We make precision tools for a number of industries, which includes medical, dental, industrial, goes across the spectrum of home improvement, hobbyists and that sort of thing. Anything that turns and cuts made out of tungsten carbide, we make. We've been doing it since 1985. We have about 70,000 square feet. We have maybe 100 or so very advanced CNC machines. We're constantly working on the forefront of technology to make what we're doing better and to make the experience of our employees who make the product better. And on that note, that's one of the reasons we're involved with FLATE. It's a constant educational process to continuously improve what we're doing and continuously improve the training of our employees. So we're very happy to be here. Thank you.
Doing the slides now. Okay. So you do have a few slides. You want to go through those right now? Talk about your company. Yeah.
So what you're seeing here, internally, we've developed a training program. I think that in manufacturing, we have to recognize that we truly have to step up our game. We're constantly reaching out to educators to educate in the technologies that we're dealing with in manufacturing. But we recognize that we have to do our part to create a structured environment for young people and older people, of course, to come in and learn. So what you're seeing here is the basis of that program. It runs across all elements of our operation, but we are focusing today on production. We decided, rather than saying, okay, we're going to train you on a robot or some of the other specific skills, we focused on the product groups. So you have the mill program, making end mills, a burr program that's making a product called the rotary burring tools, a miniature program, which is really unique, and the drill program. So we focused on those. Next, each one has a foundation, intermediate, and higher levels. They're very specific. We organized it in a way where every single aspect of what they're going to be doing is laid out. Go to the next one. It's based on a white belt, green belt, black belt type of system. So the person that's learning can kind of track their progress. You can see that there's someone training them, and there's also the level that they've reached. Employee trainer over here, you can see a person's name there and the status of the person being trained. Here's some of the very specific things that they have to achieve if they want to continuously move on. And this particular employee actually achieved these. They're greened out. So when they're greened out, that means this employee has actually achieved that level. Go to the next. And you can see some that are yellow, some that are different colors in there. Each one means either they're in training, they haven't started yet, or they've achieved a certain level. And this is more of the same, just a little bit of a variant. You go to the next one. And this gives you kind of a look at all of the varied things that the operator goes through. You can imagine that in a manufacturing environment, this has to be continuously looked at, continuously upgraded. We get new technology in all the time, so we're going to have to add that new technology into the training program. We're trying to find naming conventions that we can use that will link in with the labor department. So it's just a process that is going to continue to grow. Our plan is to actually go out into the educational world, share this with them. We do hope that a high school, as an example, if they get a young person coming in, we've already shown this to the counselor. The counselor will say, this could be a good direction for you to go in. And you can see the levels that you can achieve if you're not going to go to college, as an example. Okay, and that's about it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's really interesting for educators to see that after they leave us, the students, after they leave us, when they go to work in some kind of facility, that they're still kept track of a very detailed training on particular instrumentation. And our job is to get them ready to be able to continue learning those things. Okay, so we're going back to Cecilia, so tell us about your job and your institution and yourself as much as you like.
Sure, thank you. First, I want to say thank you so much for this award. It means a lot to me personally, but it also means a lot to our department, our engineering technology department, because other people at the college and outside the college realize that we have a great program and that we're trying to be doing stuff that are useful for the companies that are going to employ our students later on. And additionally, I have many previous and current students who feel proud about this award, and they realize that what they learn when they're a little tired sometimes, and they have those online classes sometimes and sometimes in person, and they feel like, all right, I'm learning something that's actually being awarded and being something that's useful. So I'm a program manager and a professor at Seminole State College in Orlando, or more specifically at the Oviedo campus where engineering technology is. And we have 6 different certificates, and they are all the way from mechatronics to sustainability to program management and so on. And then we have 3 different AS degrees that I'm a program manager for, and those are, for example, engineering, AS in engineering technology. We also have a bachelor program, which has 3 specializations. And that is, in addition to that, we also have Direct Connect, which is a program where we give them 2 years of studies in the AA degree. And then they will be admitted to UCF or online UF, and they can get their last 2 years. So there's a lot of different programs. And I think that is also something that is important, is that we all find where we belong, because it's important to kind of guide the students, because some of them needs the hands-on classes in the certificate. They need to try a little certificate first, and others are just gonna go to the moon and back. So we need to have avenues for that too. And I think that is what we're trying to do. So that's a little bit about that.
Well, thank you. And Ed? Your turn.
Well, first, I'd like to thank FLATE for this award and the recognition. It's very, very kind.
I've
I
been.
want you to know that nobody in FLATE is on the evaluation team for this, or the judges team for this, so. Even though I know these people for a long time, I was totally out of the loop, and so was Daniele and Ernie of the selection. So we have a quite independent selection committee, so, but most welcome and most deserving. I just want to make sure.
So I work for the Hernando County School Board at Nature Coast Technical High School in Brooksville, Florida. Every high school, we have 5 high schools, and every high school has CTE programs. Our school has 10 CTE programs. Our particular cluster is manufacturing and engineering. And as mentioned before, it's applied engineering technology as our current program of study. We try to embed industry certifications within those classes so that students have credentials that they can show as proof that they earn. It was mentioned in an earlier session. Dale mentioned earlier today. So we run, it's 3 levels, Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. We do have a capstone that also embeds a logistics training as well. And as far as manufacturing and the importance of manufacturing, I've been thinking about this a lot. You know, there's always going to be problems, supply chain. You know, we look at the headlines and, you know, there's tons of new vehicles waiting on a chip to come in that's on back order. But if we think about our daily lives, we live in a consumer world. So even things that we may not consider manufacturing, it took manufacturing for it to arrive. Whether it's you know, food production, think of all the USDA grade equipment that goes into it, pharmaceuticals and high speed. All of that requires manufacturing. So prior to teaching, I came from industry, working in the areas of custom automated design and equipment. So we work directly with first, second, third tier suppliers of manufacturing, and you know, got familiarized with what it takes to produce products on a daily basis. And working in automotive, what can happen if you hold that up, and penalties that can be in place. So I think manufacturing, you know, unless we totally change our way of life, it's very important to us. So thanks again.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, we're going to move on to some other panel questions, and if you guys don't speak up, I'll call on one of you. So if somebody has a feeling to answer, just please start talking. So we're looking for, what are some standing contributions in support of STEM or engineering technology or industrial manufacturing education and involvement in career awareness? What are some of the things that you do that really help the students or help them find their career pathways? With activities you do in those areas, Mike?
Well, a couple of things we do. We have apprenticeship programs. We offer those programs to all of the educational groups in our area, whether it be high school, vocational institution, or a university. We also have internships. Generally, internships are paid in our company, and sometimes internships turn into a job, which we love. Sometimes they're very temporary. We just had a USF student finish out his internship in quality control. So we work very hard to promote those internships because it helps the students, certainly. And it also brings advantages to us. From our standpoint, we've had to look at how we operate. If an intern comes in and we know they're going to be temporary, we have to adjust for that. We have to give them a job that isn't long-term. So we're not going to run them through the white belt, green belt, yellow belt training. We'll give them very specific analytical type jobs that we need done that our people can't get to, that sort of thing.
Okay, awesome. We love when you hire students and give them some of that real world experience, which is the second line up here. So that's great to hear about. We always try to encourage our company partners to do that. So how about you? Doesn't have to be on that topic, whatever.
Sure. So we have a large apprenticeship program with Team Park in Orlando. So we just started small with 16 students, and then it worked well. And in that case, they are paid pay them to go to school, and they pay them to take the courses for us. It doesn't cost anything for them. And then they work at the theme park, because as you know, we go to the rides and it opens at 9 a.m., but the rides has to be started many hours before then. So this is ride technicians who needs to know the practical in and outs of the ride and keeping them safe. And this program has grown. So then next year it was like 20 students, and then it came, I think, 50 or 40 to 50 students last spring. So it has really grown, and we're really happy about this program. And when you have a program like this, you need to listen to the employer and see what they need. Like they need to know whether their apprentices were there in classroom, and they actually test the students after our AS degree in engineering technology. They have a panel where they ask them questions of things that they think they should learn. So we have a good connection with them, and they are visiting us open. First year of class, we had 7 supervisors in the corridor. So, you know, it's kind of important for them, and we're really happy about this program. And we also kind of have an open system where employers email and ask for students. We had an engineering, energy company who called me and said, well, we have a student, do you have any more Jameses? And because he is actually running his group now, and he is doing a great job, so we would like to have more of Jameses. And sometimes you have a person, sometimes you have a Kaylee, or you have a Hosi, or you have another student that you can give that, you know, are ready for that kind of challenge. And I do teach a capstone course, and I try to inspire the students to come up with projects that are from the company that they work with, because many of them do work at the company and then take classes on the side or evening. And they sometimes have, and it's very specialized, and I tell them you have to be the expert, because some of them work, someone worked at a door and window company, manufacturing those components, and you know, they was very involved with the test that those parts has to go through to be able to sell. And then other people work with the conveyor belt to try to improve that. So I try to be open-minded for those kind of ideas that students have, because they are very engaged when they do something for their employer, but at the same time they are taking a class and they are learning how to do the project for that.
That's great. I actually got to see a video of one of her capstone projects from last year, the year before. It was pretty impressive for what the students can do. So it's great to see that they envision it themselves and then go through the process of actually making it work by the time they get done. All right, Ed, you're on.
Well, our program participates in Manufacturing Day most every year that we can. And while that's not something unique to just our program, ever since we've done that, that's allowed us to form partnerships with the industry sector. We're kind of blessed. Our school is right across the road from Technology Park, where a high majority of our manufacturing sector in our county exists. And it took years, but over the years of companies hosting our group, we started to form relationships, and those relationships turned into companies wanting to donate equipment, train our students, getting calls, hey, we've got a paid internship for about a month after school. You have 3 of your students that would be interested. And it's just kind of grown. We've even had situations where they would supply us materials and allow us to, sort of run production, like a quasi-production. And as a lot of you know, we talked about this earlier in the week, that can be difficult for students to get that experience outside of a training environment, because they have to be 18 or older oftentimes. So it's difficult. But we, under our umbrella, we're able to do that. So a lot of students that you see at the high school level, they come in 9th grade, and a lot of them may have never seen the inside of a manufacturing plant. And when they have that chance to go on manufacturing day, or, you know, sometimes companies will have like an open house in the evening. When they have a chance to go and see what the inside of that place is like, climate controlled, bright lights, clean, and the types of jobs that they have, usually when we come back and we kind of survey them, a lot of them say, you know, I hadn't considered that, but I think I'd like to do that. And, you know, now we have a lot of, and I had to kind of laugh. I was over there a couple, at one of our industry partners, and we were planning for manufacturing day. And I'm sitting in the office and I work at Nature Coast, and the other managers that were in there discussing it, each one of them, we got to talking, they graduated from the other 4 schools in the district. So that's, you know, that's a win-win right there, that, you know, they're gonna get in there, they're gonna train, they're going to get a job, and things are expanding. So that's worked out real well. We have other programs that we deal with, such as we participate in mock interviews through CareerSource. That allows students that probably never had a chance to interview. It has a chance for them to kind of hone their soft skills. They'll be critiqued. We can share that with the students so that when it comes real time, and some of the students actually perform so well that they might get called for an actual interview. So things like that, college and career fairs and expos, those are the type of things that we've been doing that seems to draw an interest for our students.
Do the students typically go to work after they leave your program in high school, or to post-secondary?
Well, you know, it's a little bit of both.
Or do you know?
Well, you know, I'd like to track more of that, because sometimes that's an elusive thing. But more students are, you know, whether it be Remind or Band or one of those apps where we're communicating, we have classes set up. And what I've noticed is working real well now is a lot of times those students, we can just open up another band and stay in communication. So I do know that a couple students, it actually didn't have to be yes or no, it was both. A couple of students went over to an extruded, aluminum fencing manufacturer, and they're working full time while going through the engineering technology AS degree. And they also earned a certification that, you know, articulated over to some of the college credits. So we're seeing a little bit of all of that. But a lot of them will go straight to university.
Okay, great.
Carolyn?
Yeah.
Can I-
Oh, sure.
It's wonderful hearing from the educational side, all the work that's being done. And this would probably be a good time to bring up our 5K run that we do every October. It's devoted to manufacturing, and I don't think October is considered manufacturing month anymore. They're gonna make it year round, but that's why we started doing it in October.
Yeah.
And we tried to do it as close to manufacturing day as possible. And listening to the educational work that's being done, and also meeting some of the educators here today, we would love to get more participation from them in our 5K. So we're going to do the best that we can to reach out to them. This year, the run is on October 29th. It's a Saturday. We do it early. We watch the sunrise, which is fantastic. And after the sun comes up, we begin the run. And a lot of people actually walk it as well. All money raised goes towards manufacturing educational scholarships. And in the last 6 years, we've raised, I think it's $136,000.
Wow.
And we get some wonderful stories back from those students who are actually able to take advantage of that. So we'd love to have more participation from the educational institutions that are here. And that was one thing that we learned by being here today, that partnering with one another can actually bring, I think, even more benefit.
It's a great, like Mark mentioned, Safety Harbor, the park there where the race takes place is a really nice park, and great little town, and beautiful sunrises there on the water. So it's got lots to offer on a late October. It might not be too hot for that kind.
Is that Philippi Park?
Philippines, yeah.
It's at Safety Harbor Marina.
Oh, the Marina.
Yeah, and then you go towards Philippi Park and make your way back.
It starts at 8 or
It's probably, I have to look up when the sun comes up, and, because we used to do it at the beginning of October. I don't know when the time changes, so I'm not sure.
Halloween.
Generally, it's around 7:30.
Time may change now, the first week of November.
Okay, so yeah, it'll be somewhere around 7:30 in the morning, something like
Good
that.
time, that's a good time to start. So we generally have some kind of participation with FLATE and try to rally some educators and students. They're faster than us, so that's the way it is, to participate in the race. But it's been a great tradition in our community to raise awareness about manufacturing. And certainly there's a lot of runners in the Tampa Bay area, probably everywhere. So it's a great addition to the opportunities there. All right, so do I go to the next one? We talked about work-based learning, but anyone have any last questions? We talked about a lot about apprenticeships and internships, and even manufacturing month I consider kind of work-based learning. It's like the beginning. It's an early exposure to what's happening in the industry sector and what they can expect to see. So I think all of that is really good opportunities for young people to start looking at manufacturing and what some opportunities for their future might be.
Going back to something that Ed said, it reminded me how we have to not only work with the students, but also the parents. You mentioned how you bring students into a manufacturing facility, and I think there's still a misperception about what manufacturing is. Today, it's clean, it's bright, the air is breathable, the machines are very high technology, you have robots moving around. It's pretty amazing when you come into a modern manufacturing facility. And one of the student programs we went to was in a high school, and the parents were really focusing their kids on where they're going to go to college, And we would love those parents to come in to a company like ours and see what manufacturing is like and the great opportunities that there are in manufacturing. And I know it came up here, manufacturing is at the basis of our economy. It is so important for us to be able to make things. All of us have a responsibility to that. And we have to look at the way young people think now. They don't think the way, well, I'm the older. They don't think the way I thought when I was coming up. We have to look at that and recognize that, okay, the world does change. Let's not complain about it. Let's work with it and let's try to make it better on the manufacturing front.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what kinds of skills you need. Michael, we'll start with the educators first. What do you, some specific things that they learn or that you cover in your courses and your programs? Or the educators, what occupations do they go into when they leave? If you know, sometimes it's hard to know. But what kind of skills do you, or what kind of skills do you prepare them with to go to work? What are some things they really do specifically?
Yeah, so our theme park technicians, they need basics, like they need to know what PLC is and how it works, the programmable logic controllers. They need to be not scared of engineering equipment, just in general. They need to have a general sense of how it works and how they can use the tools that they're using. But I also hear from the employers how important it is that they are honest and reliable, because they are responsible for that right. And that's the safety of a person. And that's really important for their employer. So they really drill down on that. They are very concerned about that. And that's very important for them. So we have many people who then work at theme parks, but we also have people who work at any engineering companies. I have previous students working for Lockheed Martin, and for I've had someone who got the NASA internship, and I have people who work for just smaller manufacturing companies who do milling and other engineering companies. I have people who do X-ray equipment for hospitals, and they are manufacturing those, and they needed people who can understand the manufacturing part and then go out to the employer and troubleshoot when there are any problems, or teach the people who are going to use the equipment how that can be. And they also have to be reliable, because their employer has to trust them and trust them with the customer. That are very important for the bottom line.
That's good.
Well, I already mentioned about some of the students that are working
Yeah.
in the industry. But at university level, we've got some who went into aerospace engineering, software engineering, and several in mechanical engineering. Well, in fact, one young lady that graduated this year is going into aerospace engineering over at Embry-Riddle. So it's kind of across the board. What I found is that if they can get the soft skills down, it's going to help them even if they have a career change, even if they decide that they don't want to go into manufacturing. And I would like to go back to something you said about the parents and kind of wanting to steer their children toward the college route. I like to view it as it's all about options. It's not one or the other. And that a good job in manufacturing doesn't mean if you want to pursue a college degree, that actually might be what allows you to do that. Because a lot of these manufacturers, we have manufacturers by us that are telling me we offer incentive programs as long as we have jobs in the field that they want to be in. We'll give them tuition reimbursement. And a lot of their workers are not taking them up on the offer. So I think it's not one or the other. They can do both if they want. Very good.
Yeah, that's great. So we saw some of the skills from Mike's shop early on with his slides, but I don't know that many of us could interpret exactly what they were referring to. Very specific skills, but just talk about real quickly what you expect them to have when they come in before they go to that kind of training.
Yes, and it was mentioned already, the soft skills. That is just so important. We've had great students, whether they be from a university or a program like AmSkills. They come in and they have, I mean, it looks like they really have it down as far as the ability to make a product, their math skills, all those things are top notch, yet they can't work with other people or they can't take directions from a supervisor. The soft skills, really, that's where it starts, and that's really what we look at first. Is this someone who will be able to work with others in a manufacturing environment? So that truly is number one. After that, yes, very specifically in our manufacturing firm, we have robotics, we have needs for electrical engineers. We also have needs for a vocational level of electrical training. Same with HVAC to make sure, I mean, we have air compressors, we have air conditioners. There's so much that goes into a manufacturing facility. To troubleshoot a multi-axis computer numerically controlled machine takes a lot of skill. We have to train on that generally because you don't see these types of machines out in the manufacturing world. It's kind of a niche market. But if they come in with the mechatronics, I think is the right word now, with a good background in that, certainly it gives them an advantage to move forward. Manufacturing is everything else. Marketing, Shane Davis is on with us. He's our marketing guy, and he's a wonderful trainer also. There's a lot of marketing needs as well as accounting needs, all of those normal things that goes into a entity. But on the manufacturing side, we need a lot of vocational style of training, machine shop style training, where they're able to use the measuring instruments to check quality, understand quality control. Everybody goes through very specific safety training, and we're always looking for safety training even before they walk in the door. I remember when I was introduced into the manufacturing world, I was thrown in front of a machine and they just basically said, have at it. No safety training, nothing. And it stuck in my mind because I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. And there was dangers there that I wasn't even aware of. So safety training is something that we can't emphasize enough.
Okay, well, I guess we're ready for questions from the audience. Anyone have any questions or comments? Want to ask? I see one back there.
I'm curious, specifically for the two educators, what is it that you think has given you success in the classroom to produce innovators? I guess, what are you doing in your classroom to push your students towards, I guess, the leading edge? A lot of times when people think about manufacturing now, they're thinking about an antiquated process, but we know that there's a lot of new innovations and things like that. What are you doing in your classrooms to showcase that with your students?
I draw on my own background. I have been at some companies and learned, plastic manufacturing and just production in general at different companies, and try to give them examples. And then I try to give them some freedom to choose themselves, to be creative and to follow their wishes, even though it's sometimes I'm not sure that I really think that is the best idea, but I'll let them go for it. I tell them this is you want to 3D print and you want to do this part, and you gotta start early because sometimes things doesn't go as you hope they will, and this class has to end at that date. So I try to be, giving them the framework, but giving them the space to create, and being open-minded for ideas that are new to me. And they see that kind of openness, and they kind of run with it. They usually do very well when you let them loose like that, within the limitations of the class.
Okay. Well, we're getting close to the answer. I want to finish up, so let Ed answer that question individually if he's got some great specifics about that. Let's see what looks. Oh, so the one last best practice message you have to give the educators that are in this room and anyone else who's not here in this room. So we'll start with you.
Well, this kind of ties into your question as well. When I came from industry into education, in industry, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. You don't just say, I'm going to build a machine and you just start cutting metal. And I mean, everything has to be done. And I learned that my nature was to have everything in order before I release it. And then I realized that the way, and Celia just touched on this, that's not necessary. If I'm above 75% and I'm confident, if I let it roll, the whole troubleshooting that might come involved in that is going to enhance their problem solving skills. And so once I kind of let go, I was a little bit too controlling. Like I didn't want to release something unless I felt like I knocked all the kinks out of it. And once I realized, well, this could produce opportunities in itself, I think the students embrace that. So that's helped me, and that's kind of like I don't know if you want to categorize that as a best practice, but that's helped me a lot. And it allows me to try things with our students that in the past I was probably reluctant to do.
So we might say that's something like, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to let your students fail. You don't want them to blow up the classroom or the school, but not that big a failure, but little failures that aren't going to cost a lot of money. So you do have to watch, but there's got to have that elbow room to do that. All right, quickly, Cecilia.
Just the love of learning. Try to inspire the students to be open-minded by being open-minded yourself, and then kind of just trying to get the students to get to love to learn and new things, and that is needed in manufacturing too, because as we know, when there are delays in part shipments, then things has to be manufactured maybe at the actual plant. That was bought before. And then you need to be open-minded and try to figure out a way around the problem.
Okay, and Mike.
So at MasterCut, we have our MasterCut Automated Production, which is the MAP. So it's a training tool. And we ask everyone to follow this training tool. Outside of that, we have what we call the MORE, master cut operational refinement efforts. So they follow the map, and it has to be, as you mentioned, it does have to be very concise. We make a lot of tools, they have to be exactly the same this year to next year. You can't have changes willy-nilly, that sort of thing. However, if someone feels they find a better way, and it goes back to your question, if they find a better way, they can present it to any of the supervisors that they work with, and we'll test it out. And if it actually proves out to be better, then they get the More Award. And at the end of the year, we try to, really highlight that, who got the most more, who got more.
Is that like s'mores?
But it's hard to get people to actually become part of the program. I don't know why. They'll actually do some pretty neat things out there on the floor. And I ask them, why didn't you apply for the More? They just do it. It's, how do you get that, how do you get the participation is a tough one.
So we've got one question from Bob. I know we're just at that time, so if anyone
This is a
has
quick
to
one.
leave.
I just have, when you do all your certifications with the white belt, or your employees actually are earning, they actually earn those certifications once they complete their training.
Correct.
So, okay, so
Yes, they
that's,
do.
that's good.
Yeah, and
Those-
there's
They're not
credits
easy,
applied
those
the whole time.
certifications are not easy to earn.
Right.
All right. So there's one more. And here's our winners, and they'll be presented with their recognitions tomorrow at the brunch. So we hope everyone will be there.
Make
We're
sure
usually at
Marcia
the
has-
very end,
make
so
sure
I like
Marcia
to
has
say
the half
they
cookie.
save the best awards for last. So we'll see you all there. And if you have any questions, you can stop by the FLATE table and ask away, and we'll get the questions to our winners for this year. And so thanks so much for coming and sharing this special day for our award winners.
Now, our motion's at 2:30, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we got about 15 minutes. You want me to?
That's you, right?